walking on a tightrope of confusion, hearts in chaos, search and fusion, lost in love with no direction.
Hello, bestie! Welcome to a new episode of The Inner Conversation. A conversation inside of my head that while I try to embrace myself, I invite you to embrace yourself too. And today's topic is gonna be awesome. We're gonna discuss about the cycle of conflicts and why some relationships are doomed from the start. If you don't know what means doomed, um, basically is that doomed actually. Yeah, basically is meant to fail since the beginning. That's the topic today. And why this topic is interesting? Because today my friend, one of my besties, they he asked me to guidance about this topic. And therefore I thought this is something really common and I should share with everyone. So when I say relationship, what I mean with a relationship, it's not only your partner, so the person who you call, I don't know, wife or husband, but I'm saying any kind of a relationship between two people, two persons. So can be friends, can be parents, so it's like a you and your mom, can be you and your boss, can be any kind of relationship or any kind of matching between two people. Okay, so why the cycle of conflict? It's really important for us to discuss. First of all, let me tell you the background of the explanation that I will give to you. I will change the name, I will change the city, so therefore I can protect my friend. But that's something that might resonate with you easily because this happened with everyone. Okay, so my friend told me today that, not today, but my friend told me that he wants to get married. And today he was questioned if that is a good idea or not. Why is that? Because he's from he is dating a girl, and she's really a religious girl, which is, I mean, I will say a different example of religion. So imagine that she's Christian. My friend is Christian as well. That's not the problem. She has the first relationship. So my friend is her first boyfriend. She's really conservative mindset, and my friend is not. What is the background? They were discussing about having children, and one of the example that might makes him unsure about getting married, it's because she wants to define the religion of their child since the beginning. And for him, this is something that he prefers to let the child to choose. This is one of the examples that he gave me. Of course, there is others, because every relationship has conflict, okay? But what I told him is that he needs to choose someone based on their values, not based on what they want from the future. Why is that? It's because people change. So, for example, I know Diego since the 10 years we are together, and the version that I am today is totally, I mean, and when I say totally, it's fucking totally different from what he know me from the beginning. I changed my career, I changed my perception of the world, I change what I like, what I dislike, I change my appearance, I change 100%. What I did not change, so actually I didn't change 100%, but I mean, what I did not change was my values. So I am still looking for integrity. I still care about others. I still, those kind of things that it's like an intrinsic through someone. Those kind of the things is the base of a relationship. And when I ask him, why do you want to marry her? he told me that he wants to marry her because she loves him as he's was for oh my God, her first relationship, and therefore he is afraid of not getting married, because otherwise he gonna hurt her. And I said, hey, this is not the way of loving someone. So I showed him a tattoo that I have. This tattoo is a phrase of one of the priests, and then that for me makes a lot of sense. So basically, he was trying to explain Jesus' love, and he said that, oh, it's super hard in English because it's in Portuguese. It was a Portuguese priest. But basically, he was explaining the love of God. It's a love that doesn't look reasons to love and doesn't ask for someone to love back. Meaning that if you love someone, you should love because you love, not looking for the person or not expecting the person to love you back, and neither not loving the person just because the person loves you. That's the meaning of the God loves, and therefore I put in my as a tattoo. I put in myself because this is the kind of love I try to look for. When I love someone, and should be the basis. When you love someone or when I love someone, I try not to expect them to love me back. And I know it's super hard because if you love someone, you want to receive love back. And if someone loves me, I should not love just because the person loves me. I should love just because I love the person and not to feel obliged to love someone. Why I'm saying that? Because it's super hard to do when you are in a relationship, and you should not try any relationship just because the other person is feeling something for you, and you should not try to ask for those kind of feelings. And when I say that, it's not only in a partner relationship, but also in a friendship relationship. If you have a friend and you are expect them to love you the same way you are loving, you're not loving, you are demanding someone. And this is not love. Okay? So I also try to explain what is the conflict and happen based on another tattoo that I have. So I have another tattoo here. Basically, this tattoo is me as well, and I made on my wedding. Why is that? It's to remind me that I am not looking or I'm not marrying someone because I want to feel complete, but because I want to overflow. So let me give you an example with cups again because I don't have many resources here with me. Um, so this is you. You are a person, and normally what happens is that the person is like a cup half full. And when you are in a relationship, normally, because this is normal, okay? Normally, the other person is also half of full. And what people don't understand, and that's come the mistake, is that when you are in a relationship, can be friends, can be marriage. When you are in a relationship, if both are half empty, when you bring together, you don't have a full cup. Oh my fucking God. I put exactly the amount. Anyway, when you are I'm still shocked. Oh, cut off my breath. But anyway, when you are in a relationship, people misunderstood that like oh, I'm looking for the other part of my orange or the I don't know, the other part of the fruit. But what happens that when you try to fill yourself with someone else half, you don't realize that the other one it's empty. You see? So you have two cups and only one full. And that comes the mistake because a relationship should be made of two full glasses. And that's the reminder for me in my tattoo. Because when you have two glasses full, and you have someone coming in your life, you're gonna overflow. You're not looking for someone to make you feel full because you are already full. And when you are already full, finding someone who is already full as well, you have two full glasses. You're not having one full glasses and another one empty. And that should be the goal of a healthy relationship. But what happens normally is that people try to find the other piece or in a relationship for them to feel 100%. But that is the mistake. So, what I want to tell you is that if you're looking for a relationship, any kind of relationship, you should not looking for someone to make you feel 100%. You should feel 100% by yourself. Because if you're looking for your other half, what happens that you're gonna make the other person overwhelmed. You're gonna demand emotional or any kind of a relationship responsibility from the other person, and the other person is not responsible for yourself. You are the person responsible for yourself. So if you're not happy with your own alone, nobody else in this fucking world is gonna help you to fulfill yourself. And here comes the first mistake in one of the relationship. Another thing that you need to keep in your mind, and that's why I'm recording the session in the computer because I want to draw for you. So let me share my screen. Another reason for people to have fights or conflict. Yeah, I hope you can see. But another reason is because this is my method, my theory that I created. So it's my concept. Every individual are made of two pieces. So, oh, wait, give me a sec. So here it's you. Everyone is made of two parts. The first part is what I call internal. Let me internal. Internal. And the other one is what I call external. Okay. What happened? Oh, sorry, guys. I'm trying to. Okay. What happened? What is internal? Internal is everything that makes yourself unique. So every experience that you passed since the childhood. So everything that happens with you, only with you, it's what I call internal. What is external? It's everything that you has as a reference. Can be books, can be friends, can be parents, can be sisters, can be everything that is outside you. Can be your house, can be your work, can be everything. So it's external. Internal, it's you. External, it's everything that it's not you. Okay, that's the basically the definition. I mean, my concept it's really big, and while you watch my podcast is gonna you're gonna understand more. But basically, for this explanation, that's enough. What happens when you find someone else? I mean, the person also has the same made of two parts, the internal and the external. So when the conflict starts, it's because your your reference it's different from the other one. I put it wrong here. So external. Your reference different from the other one, okay? So I will give you a real example about my relationship. Can be my manager, but I prefer not to use my manager because not today because I still work. So let me use an example of my marriage, okay? My father is really, really, really workaholic. So since I was a child, my father was always working, and I mean, sometimes it's really hard to talk with him because he only knows to talk about work. And I mean, I'm not working in the same field as him, so for me, it's really hard to understand what he's talking about. So my point is, my father is really work driver, and my husband, it's not. Mm. However, my husband has a mother which never worked, and it's housewife, meaning that I mean her work, which is super tough, is taking care of the house, making food, washing their clothes, washing their plates. I mean, doing everything related to the house, related to the family. I am not this person because my mother also worked outside. My mother also worked a lot since my childhood. So both of my parents were always looking for a way of performance in their career. And Diego father always worked outside and never inside of home. But so what I want to say is that we both have a different reference in relationship. And Freud, Sigmund Freud, he he explained that when you are in a relationship, you try to find the reference from the person that you has as a father and as a mother. And when I say a reference, it's because if you grew up with your grandparents, your reference of mother and father, it's not the person who make you like a birth, but it's the person who take care of you, and therefore they are your reference of how to behave. Okay? Because imagine that Diego grew up with their grandparents. Their reference is gonna be his grandparents, not their father and mother. And when the cycle of conflict starts, it starts when my reference of how to be a father is different from the father that Diego has as a reference. And Diego has another reference as how to behave as a mother, as a wife, different from what I have. So me as a wife, when I have a relationship with someone who has a totally different experience and totally different reference in a relationship, we start to have a conflict. So Diego always expect me to take care of the house, making food for him, cleaning everything alone, because that's his reference of how to behave. I'm not judging, I'm not saying right or wrong, but it's his reference, but it's not mine. So I couldn't not see myself doing the same thing because that's not my reference. For me, supposed to be like everyone take care of everything together, and that's how I grew up. So that's my reference and that's my experience. And therefore, we started to have a conflict because Diego is not with the same experience and not the same reference that I have. And then we start to have a fight. And why this is important for you to understand? Because if you don't understand the reference and the experience that the person has, you're going to fight for something that for you it's obvious, but for the other person it's not. So when I say Diego, it's not obvious that I need to do the cleaning alone. It's not obvious that I need to be this person because it's not my reference, it's not my reference. experience. But for Diego, it's the other hand. For him, that's the truth. I should be this person. And even though it's so hard, I mean, it's really hard for us to understand that our reality is totally different from the other. We have different kind of words. So when I say it's obvious, it's not obvious. It's obvious just because you have the experience and the reference different from the other one. But every fucking person in this world is different. You cannot demand someone has the same perspective as you have. Okay? So here comes the conflict because people don't understand that what is obvious for us is not obvious for the other person. And this also happens in the work, this also happens in the friendship, this happens in every kind of relationship. Okay? Mm. Mm. So, Freud, as I was saying, explained these kind of things, basically saying that Diego expect a wife to behave as his reference of mother, and I expect my reference of father to be the same as mine. So I expect Diego to behave as my father, and here comes the trigger because they're not the same. We come from different kind of world. And when you go to another country, that also happens because your experience and your reference of how to behave is totally different from the other person. You're in totally different kind of culture, different, okay? Uh, so when I say relationship, I mean every individual. Even though we look like the same, we are not the same. We are made of different kind of experience and different kind of reference. I will give an example in the German culture. So Germans love to be directly, love to give feedback, and it's fine. So for example, it's super fine. I do a work and then comes my boss and say, hey Sayuri, I didn't like that, 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 that. But in Brazil, that doesn't happen. In Brazil, you need to wait for a cycle of feedback to say something that you didn't like it, and therefore you cannot change from the beginning. So Brazilian in German culture, it's not used to receive so many bad feedback because oh my god, to receive bad feedback because this is not what we have as a reference of being good or bad. So when we receive a bad feedback, we instantly feel offended, but it's not what the other person wanted because the other person is just giving feedback because that's the way of caring, that's the way of making improvement to be someone else better. And if you don't understand this concept like internal and external, your your life or your relationship, it's gonna be super hard because you're gonna have a lot of conflict. Mhm. Okay, so what you should do, because we were talking about my friend, right? So what I told him to do, let me stop sharing. What I told him to do is basically, he needs to, of course, talk to the girl because their reasons are kind of wrong. I mean, I will not say wrong because I'm not here to judge, but to marry someone from my perspective based only in a feeling like I'm married because I love her, it's the wrong decision because people change and therefore your feelings might change as well. You should look for a relationship as a contract, a business partner. So when you have a contract with a client, you expect this client to give you something back. So you're not gonna have a contract with someone that you think they will um, fake something or they will betray you somehow. You make a contract with someone that you trust. you make a contract with someone that has the same values as you, at least. And when you're looking for a relationship, should be the same. You should make a contract with someone that may allows you to be yourself. So what I told him is like, if you are afraid about touching this topic because it's super sensitive, this person is not the right person for you. And conversation is the base of a relationship. Any kind of relationship is conversation. You should be transparent. You should be able to say what you feel and what you feel. And when I say what you feel, it's not being an asshole. What I say is like using nonviolent communication. So I will give an example. Imagine that I have a conflict with you because you somehow uh, try to cut all the time that I'm trying to explain something. That happens. It's a situation that happens. And therefore, without saying, yeah, you always cut me while I'm saying you always do that. Because if you do like this, you are pointing the finger for the other person. What is nonviolent communication approach is you need to look for this situation and say, hey, that happened, so it's a fact, and that's how I feel. So all the time that I'm talking, I mean, you cannot say all the time because this is also a violent communication. So I feel that when I say something, I am being interrupted. And this makes me feel super ignored and unvalued and like I was a piece of shit that it doesn't deserve to be listened and therefore make me feel sad. This is supposed to be one of the best approach when you have a conflict with someone because therefore you're not judging the other person because you need to understand people are not an asshole because they want to. Of course some people are, but from the beginning most of the people do the things without notice how bad they are behaving and how their behavior affect others. So the nonviolent communication tells you to not judge the situation, but try to explain how you feel for the other person. And therefore, the conversation is going to be super easier to have because the other person will not try to be defended. He will try to be empathetic with you. So, okay, I understood that my behavior it makes you feel sad, but I didn't want to make you feel sad. Therefore, I will be open to listen what is going on, and therefore I can change myself. But you cannot attack the other person. You need to say how you feel based on something. So words like you always did bad, you never listen to me, you always these kind of things, it's hard, but should not be used. You need to try to stop and skip those kind of words because they are violent. Okay? Another thing that you need to do is when you have that. So first of all, nonviolent communication, but the other one is like trying to find a plan together. So I didn't told him like, oh, you should break up with this girl. No, actually, it's totally the opposite because she cares a lot about him. But the point is, when I had my first relationship, I thought that the guy was perfect. I thought, oh my God, this is the guy of my life. He's perfect. But that's not the truth. It's because I don't have any other reference of love. So everything that he was doing for me was fine as long as he was with me. That was my reference. And what I told him is that her reference of relationship might be the same. My friend might not be the guy that she wants to love, but as she doesn't have any other reference of relationship, she thinks that my friend is the perfect guy. But it's not. It's clearly not. And probably it's clear. I mean, probably she is not able to see that because she doesn't have any other reference. But when you have another reference, you can see if the person it's better or not from the other one. And that's how hard it is when you are in a toxic relationship and you don't have any other reference, because you cannot tell if this person is the best person for you because you never had any other to say, oh, this is the best. So what I told him is like, if you really care about this person, if you really want to stay with her, try to make a plan. Approach her and say, hey, that's how I feel. And let's make a plan to find out how we can overcome this problem. Because she might not even realize that she's making this relationship hard to move on, because for her that's the right thing to do. It's obvious, it's the right thing, otherwise nobody would do that. So when you have a conflict, you need to at least be able to communicate your reference and your experience for the other person, because then the other person is gonna be more empathetic to listen what is going on and what is affecting you. Yeah, so basically that's what I told him, and that's happened with everyone. Okay. Yeah, this topic is really interesting. I love this kind of topic, and I'm recording for you, bestie, to remember yourself, to not go for a relationship trying to fill yourself. You need to overflow. Okay. Maybe I can come in another context, because I have every tattoo that I have, it's telling a story about my life, and I only made my tattoos in my birthday. Besides my wedding and this one, everyone else it's on my birthday. But those days that I did those, it's also important for me. So I only do tattoos when I want to remind myself about a specific day or about an impacted day in my life. Yeah, well, that's all. Thank you for listening. If you like my new way of doing podcasts, please comment and also share with someone that you think should listen to. What else? Yeah, please follow, comment, share, blah blah blah. You guys know, right? Oh, another thing is, if you want to receive advice, I would say what I could do with your, if I were you, also reach to me. You don't need to comment because it might be really private, but do like my bestie, reach out to me and I definitely can help you, and I also can make a video so then you can remind yourself about it. Okay, so thank you for listening, and yeah, see you next time. Bye.
Friendship dances a reflection. We clash like thunder in